Hello there, beautiful teachers, and welcome to the weekly show on YouTube where we connect with each other as a community, where we hang out and we chat about a specific topic each week, as well as the latest news and general things that are going on for us as music teachers. Today's special topic is no makeup lesson policies. And if you don't even know what that means, if you think it's about applying foundation, then stay with us. I'm going to explain all and give you some tips if you're way beyond the stage of understanding what that means. So if you're ready to make the switch, or if you just want to reaffirm yourself for the policy you already have and hang out with us here, either way, you are very welcome. And I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments. I'd also love to hear your questions. So do you have any questions for me today? I make sure to get back to all of them at the end if I miss any during the show. So make sure you start your question with the word question. If it's not just a general chat, I will come back to all of the comments that start with the word question. Very simple system, right? Yes. Okay, so are we ready to dive in? Not quite yet, because we need to do our warm-up. Here we go. Okay, let's warm up with our breath first. Then we'll do a little bit of singing and a little bit of rhythm, and we'll be set and ready for the week ahead. So, if you haven't been here before, this is a bit of a leap of faith for you. I want you to do this with me. Like, actually do what I'm doing on the screen. Don't just go, oh yeah, that's a lovely idea. Really do it. Are you ready? I don't want to see any typing during this time. Are we ready? Okay. So, I want you to raise your right hand up to the sky and take a deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, and out. 1, 2, 3. Left hand up. Inhale. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3. Hands together overhead. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands back down to your heart. And inhale for 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know that might seem like a silly little ritual, but that little moment of connecting with other teachers who are doing the same thing all over the world, it really does make a difference. And even just if it's just a case of slowing down and counting your breath, that makes a difference to your brain space. So I hope it puts you in a good frame of mind for the week ahead. Now let's warm up our musical selves. So we have our singing first. Why, thank you, Carrie. I'll explain those later. We have our singing first, and then we'll do some rhythm together. So, even if you've never used solfa before, we're going to start and we're going to do it together. Okay? So this is do. Do, re, do. You just follow my hand signs and try and sing along. Do, re, do. Okay, so now we're going to go to a different pattern. I'm going to do the hand signs silently. I want you to try and stay with us. There's so. That's where you're starting. Just a few minutes makes a difference. Even if you feel a bit silly doing it, even if you just kind of hum along and you feel like you're not getting the right notes, it will get you more used to this system of singing, and it'll warm up your vocal cords if you're way ahead of us and already a solfa pro. Oh, I agree, Karen. We always feel better after breathing, and it's so easy to forget to just stop and breathe. So I'm glad you're able to take that invitation with me. Now, let's warm up our rhythmic selves with some Rhythm Railroad. So if you're new to this, this is Rhythm Railroad. It's a series inside Vibrant Music Teaching. We're working our way through the second level together. So we're on number 7, but you don't have to have caught the previous levels to follow along with us, I promise. Let's just go through the actions together first. So the light blue one, that is one hand on your leg. I'll be doing it kind of in the air here just so you can see that I'm doing something. The foot is your foot. I'm just going to tap my toes so you won't hear that one, but you might see me shift slightly. Kind of makes me wobble, doesn't it? But you can do a full stamp, especially if you're sitting down. It's much easier to do. Then you've got the orange, which is shoulders. Okay, so we'll do this as I do with my students first, which is just to talk through it, kind of pausing at points or to figure out the actions, okay? So it goes, let's do count to today. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you may have noticed there, the way I do that, I do slow down when the actions get more complicated. That's obviously not what the student is supposed to do eventually, but when we're first going through it, we do kind of figure out the actions because we are working on the movement first, and then we're going to do it with the backing track. Okay, so are we all ready to give it a go? Ready to do it with me? Let's do it. We're going to go straight to the plane, so this is the faster version of the track. If you're doing it with students, you can do the slow version first, which is the boat. How are we doing today? I completely messed these up last week, so if you mess them up today, I know I didn't get perfect today, but I was a bit better than last week. If you mess them up today, don't worry about it. We all feel uncoordinated sometimes, and it helps you get in your beginner's mindset. Okay, we're going to do one more today. This is our next one. Hope you enjoyed the first one. This one is in 3/4, so before I do anything else, let me notify you that the backing track will have 2 bars of count in. Always warn students about that. In 2/4 and 3/4, we give them 2 bars or 2 measures. The new action you have here is hand on heart. A lot of my students tell me that it's this. Like I ask them to guess what it's going to be, and they do this. And I'm like, okay, well you can do that if you prefer. But to me, I assumed they would interpret it as this. It's about 50-50 with students who say it's this or this, which I just think is hilarious. Anyway, that's the action. This time we won't count it out first. Let's just try it together. Are we ready? I know you can't answer me. That's obviously a silly question to ask. Let's give it a go. 2, 3, ready, set, go. Okay, I hope you enjoyed those. Let's move on to our next section. And into the latest news. That's hilarious. Yeah, your students too. Just didn't occur to me. Would it have occurred to... Oh, I'm sorry. Would it have occurred to you? I wouldn't have even thought of that, which is just hilarious. Anyway, I find it entertaining. Even if my students are a bit like, yeah, well, obviously. So, the latest news and goings on. Well, I'd love to hear what your news is, but mine is the last week has been all about ScaleSync, which is our new scale resource that I'm putting together for next year. The first level is releasing in January. And today, Carrie, I said I would explain. Carrie earlier said, nice nails. I said I would explain. That's why my nails are these colors. So when I do scale videos, I do this one, the reminder videos, and I really liked it. So I'm keeping it for ScaleSync. It's an overhead view of my hands playing the scales. And when I do that and it's aimed at students, I like to have 2 different colors just so it's really easy for them to go, okay, left hand, right hand, you know? And we're also lining those up with where it shows on the staff. So you'll have to see the full video, but we were just doing a test run today of the first video. And so I had a big technology brain melt of a morning, to be honest with you. It was pretty painful. It kept not working, and then this thing, and then that thing. But I figured out a system now, and I have my nails painted, so we're all systems go tomorrow. So yeah, that's our new scale resource. Really excited about that one. That's coming out in January, the first level. And then I was polishing off a course called Metrics for Music Studios, which is for later in the year. It now goes to editing and all that sort of stuff, but I was doing my video recording for that last week as well, which was a totally different beat than recording scales with my nails painted, but just as fun in a different way. And I hope you guys are going to love that one. That's coming out the second quarter of next year, so it's a while away, but I hope you enjoy it when we get there. Then we published some fantastic stuff for you as always. So we had a podcast about the best scale teaching method. I'd love to hear how you teach scales. As a side note, notation, rote, or writing. Do you have your students write them out? Do you teach them just purely by memory? Do you have some other system? I did a podcast about that and my thoughts on it. It's very much a personal decision, but one that's worth thinking through for sure. And our next chat next week, to let you guys know, is about how much piano teachers make, because this week for me is all about the annual report. I've already started working on it, of course, because it's a big job, but I'm finishing it this week, and I'll have some thoughts to share with you next week about the results from it. Not just about income, but about lots of other things as well. And so that's our topic for next week. And then we have one more week after that, and then it'll be Christmas break here on the YouTube show. So it's rocketing in, isn't it? It's going to be here before I know it. Before you know it. Before we all know it. I don't know why I'm saying it like that. For members, I wanted to make a quick note as well that we do have extra member huddles tomorrow. There was a tech issue last week, so I decided to do 3 tomorrow to make up for the 2 that we missed last week. So if you can make one of those sessions, definitely check your member dashboard. You'll see your calendar there, and you can see when each session is on, and you can see it in your time zone, and also add it to your Google Cal or iCal or whatever you use, so that it's really handy, and hopefully you can make one of those sessions. And my last piece of news is that we're pretty much set on our dates now for the Teacher Turbo Boost. So I wanted you all to be the first to know Teacher Turbo Boost is going to be happening. It's the same kind of timing as last year, as in it's the week leading up to Easter Sunday. I know that's a weird way to frame it, but that's a school break. It's a school holiday here in Ireland, so that's why I picked that week. So it's April 11th, and no tickets on sale yet or anything like that, but if you want to get the date into your diary nice and early, that's when that's going to be. And I've started talking to some wonderful guests that we can have, and I hope you can all make that as well. So yeah, lots of fun stuff going on. Last fun thing is super fun, almost saved the best for last. It is almost December 1st. You guys know that. But you may not know yet that we did a 2020 send-off last year, which is like an advent calendar, but, non-denominational and super fun. So we are doing another one this year, and you can find it at vibrantmusicteaching.com/send-off. vibrantmusicteaching.com/send-off, and you'll see links. If you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, you'll see all the links. We'll have a different surprise for you every day from the 1st to the 25th of December. So I hope you're looking forward to it. I'm certainly looking forward to seeing your reactions again, because it was so much fun last year, wasn't it? Anyone who was there for it, lots of people really loved the calendar, so we had to bring it back for another year. So that is starting this week. Makeup lessons. Let's think about makeup lessons. Do you offer them in your studio? Do you Want to move to a no makeup lesson policy, but you're not sure how to do it? Well, this is the place for you to be then. When we talk about makeup lessons, what we're talking about really are rescheduled lessons, although the term makeup lessons has become the way we talk about it, so that's the term I'll use here. But really we mean rescheduling lessons as well. So this is when a student just doesn't show up for their lesson, or they tell you in advance that they're going to be missing their lesson. The question mark is, do we then offer them a different spot? Do we make that lesson up? I don't think you should, and I'm going to go through the reasons why, as well as how I think you can make this transition in your studio in this video. So before we go any further, let's think about this question. What are your students actually paying you for? What do you think they're paying you for? In my view, your students are paying you to be part of your studio. They're paying you for a weekly lesson spot, which you hold for them. Yes, a place in your calendar. They have reserved that spot. You cannot give it to anyone else. They're also paying for you as a teacher and all the things that go into that, like your professional development and the research you do and all the hours you spend lesson planning outside of their regular lesson spot. And they're paying for other parts of your studio, like your recitals or competitions that you help them attend, or special practice incentives you do, anything else you do as a benefit for being part of your studio. For example, I offer regular group workshops that are completely optional, but they are included in tuition. I also roll in all of their books and materials and the recitals that we do and many other little bits and pieces. So if you're having trouble with this whole idea of giving makeup lessons and that you're providing enough value to students if you don't make that lesson up, I want you to make a big long list of all the things you're offering to students. Even if you don't have those kinds of extras that I talk about, like my group workshops, you still are providing a hell of a lot more than just that weekly lesson. And even if you were providing just that weekly lesson, they're reserving that spot in your week. It is not like a doctor's appointment where you schedule it as a one-off, and then if you cancel it, you need to reschedule it. And they're going to put someone else in that time, and it's constantly a moving thing. No, they're paying you for the privilege of reserving that spot in your weekly schedule every week during term time, and you're committing to showing up. So they are paying you for that at the very least, and probably for a whole lot more outside of that weekly spot. So the first step to getting reframed around makeup lessons is to understand what your students are paying you for. Lots of thoughts coming in the chat about makeup lessons. I told my families to offer makeup lessons we need 5 per week, so I have to not fill 5 student slots. So divide that amount up and everyone pays $10 a month more to free up my time. I don't know, Corey, if you're saying you did do that or you're saying like that's the hypothetical that you offered them. Interested in your thoughts there. Yes. You're on board with me, Lee, for sure. If I were to sum up this video, it would be that. No makeups. Yeah, for sure. If possible, I swap them with another student. Yeah, I was going to get to that in a second. So keep coming in with your thoughts on makeup lessons. But the initial framing for me is just, what are your students paying you for? You need to understand that first so that you can start to change your own mindset. Now, after you do understand that your students are paying you for a lot more than just that weekly lesson spot or just that half hour of your time each week, it's not that kind of simple an exchange, then you need to believe it and communicate it. That's your next step. You're going to have to communicate this to people and you need to believe it first. So hopefully we've dealt with that, or we're starting to come around to it. Then you need to communicate it to your family. So how do you do that? Well, the best way is right from the get-go. If you can make a first impression on your families, have a meeting with new families and explain all of the things that go into being a part of your studio and all the things you're going to be offering them and get them really excited about that, that gets you off to a great start. It is trickier when students have been with you for a while and you need to make a transition. So we'll talk about that in a second. But if you are starting with a new student, this is the first thing you need to do. Communicate right from the start about all your studio has to offer your students. Then, with continuing students, you need to find different ways to showcase what you're doing outside of lessons. So maybe you have piano parent progress updates, like you share a doc with them or you share notes through My Music staff or something like that. That's where you can mention things that happen to be outside of that regular weekly spot. And even the fact that you're giving them a progress update shows that you're doing things outside of the lesson. And all of these little things add up. You can also mention these kinds of professional development that you attend, like these sessions and the conferences you go through, like the Teacher Turbo Boost and all of those kinds of things in your newsletter. So I do a newsletter just once a year for my families. That's enough work for me, and I like to summarize the whole year. Maybe you do one every month. Maybe you've never done one. If you've never done one, start with one per year and see how you go from there. But you can talk about what you do. I have a section in my newsletter every year that I simply call Lifelong Learning, and that's where I explain what I've been learning this year. Because I like to showcase the fact that I'm constantly learning, and this all contributes to that feeling of they're paying for this well-rounded approach, this studio that's all about learning all the time for the teachers and the students. And there's so much that goes into their lessons besides just that half hour a week or that 45 minutes a week or whatever it is for you. You can also send out emails to parents ad hoc or on some kind of schedule about projects their child is doing in their lessons, which helps them to see all the things that are happening outside of that lesson time. So you need to believe that you're delivering more than just half an hour a week, and then you need to find ways to communicate it to parents, both ones who have been with you for a while and ones who are brand new to your studio. Faye said, I do not do makeup lessons during the year, but I did build a week into the end of my year to give any makeup lessons. For the last 2 years, I did not have any bonus week off. I'm not a huge fan of that strategy, to be honest. Every teacher can do what works for them. That's not my favorite because it still sends this message that I want to get away from, that the lesson should be made up in some way, that by them missing out on that weekly lesson, you haven't delivered what you said you were going to deliver. And what you really said you were going to deliver was to be there, be available at that time. Now, in saying that, if it's a teacher making it up, like if the teacher couldn't attend, that's a whole other story. So bear in mind, I'm not talking about that. But every teacher does their own thing. I'm not judging Faye, but just giving my perspective. That's why I don't prefer that strategy. Corey, thank you for following up on that. That was the hypothetical offered, and then they all decided no need to pay for more makeups. We like the options you already provide for free. Yeah, for sure. Okay. So our next step is to put it into writing. You need to put it in your policies. For me, I think we should keep it simple. And when I'm writing no makeup lesson policies, there are no exceptions. I don't care if it's because they're sick, or because Granny came to town, or because they just forgot. When I make it as broad as just never, it makes things a lot simpler, and it avoids this case where you feel like someone is fibbing about something, or there's some kind of situation where you're not sure it's quite what they're saying it is, and it just keeps it simple. No exceptions. What I do offer are alternatives. So it's not like I'm saying you can't have a makeup lesson and you can't have anything that week. There are alternatives. So the first alternative is an online lesson. Now, this is perfect if your student is available at that time but can't come to your studio for whatever reason. Many of us have lots of experience with online lessons lately, but you can use them even when it's not due to a student being infectious in some way or due to government regulations. I use online lessons when my student is with a babysitter and their parent can't bring them over because the babysitter doesn't have a car, so they can't get here, or the car breaks down, or some other situation that just means they have to stay at home or wherever they are that there's a piano, but they can be available at the time. Now, in many cases, they're just not available at that time because something else is going on. So that's where I do say that they can get in touch with me, and if I have another cancellation, another student cancels in the same week, I will offer it. I'll just put in a caveat here that if you are someone who feels like it's going to be really hard to stick to this and feels really hard to say no to people, don't put that in there. Just leave it out. But for me, I'm quite comfortable saying, yep, I'll let you know if I have another cancellation. And then, yes, most of the time I don't, but they know that at least I have it on my radar. And if I have a cancellation that they could possibly make that fits with what I know of their schedule or whatever, then I will offer it. You can also bring in something like a swap list where people opt in to have their number or their details on a list where parents can get in touch with each other. You need to be really careful about that if you have a complicated studio like mine where there's lots of different lesson formats. If I let people swap with each other, I would end up with buddies that are mismatched and students in the wrong lesson lengths and all sorts of things going on, and it just wouldn't work. But if you do have a very simple structure, such as you offer 45-minute lessons for everyone always, then this might be an option for you. Make sure that people are opting into it so that you're not sharing contact details without their permission, of course. And then my favorite alternative, which most students end up with in our studio when they can't make a lesson, is a video lesson. So we record a video and we send it to them through Tonara, which is our app that we use for practice. So this could be a video about a piece they're learning, a specific struggle I know they have, or something more general if I'm not sure where they would have got up to that week with practice, or I just feel like they need some kind of fresh look at something. I might just record a more general lesson like about a 12-bar blues or something, and that can be used for multiple students, and it becomes a resource that we keep in Tonara and attach to assignments as required or as needed for other students over time. So it makes a great use of that time. And the other teachers who work with me do the same thing. So they use that time to record a video lesson. If there's no way of recording a video lesson that's relevant to that student, you can still use that time to record a more general video lesson and add to your library. Oh, Corey does a swap option with the Facebook group. So that's a great option if you do a Facebook group for your families. Swapping sometimes, but only if it suits me. That's where it sounds like Naptime Seamstress, you're just all over it and, you're very comfortable saying no, but it doesn't suit. But with maybe younger teachers or those who just have a hard time saying no, which I used to be much more this way for sure, then I would discourage that as an option just for your own mental well-being and sanity and everything. Awesome. Okay, so now it's time. Do it. There's no way out of this. If you want to move to a no makeup lesson policy, at some stage you just have to do it. And if you've been offering makeup lessons all over the place, I understand how hard this is going to feel. You might be surprised how few parents really react to this. And the parents that quibble with you over it, that perhaps quit over it, they are not your ideal parents. As long as you communicate to them the value you're offering, the other options they have available, then all you need to do, and I do recommend you do this, is come up with a party line. By a party line, I mean, tell yourself, if you are someone that gets nervous about confrontations and things, have a sentence or just a general idea of what you're going to say when somebody fights you about it. What are you going to say about it? For me, I like to explain that it makes it fair to all my students, and this is how we balance our schedule. But whatever you come up with to say, it doesn't have to be a big justification. You don't have to explain about your own finances. Please don't do that. Just come up with a simple statement, such as, no, we're not able to do that at this time, or no, I'm not able to offer makeups. Here are the video lesson and other options available to you. So you do offer them something else, but most of the time you are going to have to use that word, no. Just a simple no at the start of the sentence. So make it clear that you're not going to back down. And if they keep coming back to you again and again about the same thing, don't be afraid to repeat yourself. Do make this change at a natural breaking point in your year, such as over a teaching break, from summer, when you're starting a new term, anything like that, so that there is a time when you're sending out new policies, you explain the changes in simple language that is not defensive, that does not overly justify why you're making this change, but simply explains the benefits that there are to them and lets them know how it is going to work in your studio, because it's your studio. So don't make exceptions ever again once you make the change, and move forward with confidence, knowing that many other teachers do this and you're going to be just fine. Even if it makes you a little bit nervous at first, you can do this. We're all behind you, and it's going to make the world of difference to your schedule and your mental space. Okay, so let me know in the chat if there's any here that are going to make this change. If you're moving to no makeups, if you have any questions about this, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, as well as if you're nervous about it, if you disagree with me. Like I said, I'm always open to the disagreements. Right now, though, we're going to move into our little book club. So the book we're reading at the moment, I remembered to bring it down with me this time, is The Happiest Piano Teacher in Town, covering her name. It is by Doreen Hall. So this week we were reading chapters 5 to 8. If you haven't joined us so far and you're thinking, oh, you're already 8 chapters in, I can't start now. You actually really can, because the chapters are incredibly short. And that's coming from someone who is a pretty concise writer myself. I don't go for long-winded things either, but yeah, they're super quick reads. You'll fly through them. So these chapters were interesting for me. I've shared my thoughts already in the community, but I'll share them with you here too, and I'd love to hear what you thought of these chapters, anything that stood out to you if you're reading along. Again, it is The Happiest Piano Teacher in Town by Doreen Hall. Keep covering her name, poor woman. Okay, so the first chapter, chapter 5, was about mission statements. My favorite part of this was when she encouraged us to think about the end result. This is something I've mentioned before myself as well on some trainings, where you envision that student after 10 years of studying with you. After 10 years into lessons, what will they know? What can they do? How do they feel about music? And then you step back from there to design your mission statement. I thought that was a great way to approach it and a really good exercise, even if you're not writing a mission statement, just to every so often step back and say, okay, what is my end result here? Where am I going? Not vague like, oh, well, they should be able to read music well. But specifically, what can they do? What do they look like? How do they think about music? How do they feel about it? I think that's a great thing to do at any stage of your teaching. I did have a little niggle with one sentence, which I'll read out to you. I had it quoted in my notes here. She described a student who was playing just for fun and may not be very motivated about practicing. Now, I understood her point, because she was trying to describe different types of students, but I just thought this type of student was pretty questionable. Like, a student can be learning just for fun and be very motivated at practicing, but more than that, if that is where the parent is coming from, because really this sounds like a sentence from a parent, if that's where they're coming from, it's our job to educate them about the fact that it's going to be fun if they practice. So it's one of my little bugbears, I guess. So maybe, yeah, it's something you may not have even noticed, but it stood right out to me like, no, I don't like the word fun used in that context. But anyway, that's just me nitpicking at things. There was one other little niggle I had, which was about the student she described who wanted to play by ear. So this student came to her, and the parent got in touch with her and described that the student was only playing by ear so far, and they wanted to continue like that because she thought it was more fun for her kiddo to learn that way. And maybe, like, it definitely could be the case that Doreen tried to convince the parent that reading was important, but just the way she framed it in the book, it sounded like they said that and she went, oh, well, I'm not the teacher for you then. And I don't think that's probably not even what happened, but that's just the way it was framed in the book. And I believe, again, that it's our job to educate that parent to say, well, here's why reading is important, and I think it could be really beneficial for your child, because that parent really is leaving a huge portion of music out of their child's education, and without a specific reason to do that, like, they have a severe learning difficulty, that means reading music really isn't for them, and that's a whole other bag. But yeah, just a little bit more parent education dripped in there. But again, these may be things Doreen is doing, it's just the way she wrote about them made me think about that. I definitely empathized, and I'm sure many of us would, with her description of herself as a younger teacher, where parents would come to her and say they wanted this or that, like want her to do this competition or that exam or whatever, and she would just roll with it. And that certainly was me as a younger teacher as well. Was it any of you? It was really tough. Like, I just went, oh, well, they say they want this, so they say what they want that, but they don't really know what they want, and they're asking for these things from different places. Like, often parents are asking for exams here, and what they really want is a measurement of progress, and that doesn't have to be an exam, but they don't know that. So again, parent education, Doreen was totally on the same page as me here, where she's trying to explain knowing yourself as a teacher and having your own plan and not necessarily rolling with what parents say. This is why, to me, mentorship should be the future of music teaching. It should be a much bigger part of what we're doing in our industry, is building this system of traineeship or mentorship or apprenticeship, whatever you want to call it, where younger teachers have an more experienced teacher to back them up, not even in front of parents, but to say to them, no, you are right, this student should go this direction, or you do have a good reason for that, so that they don't end up just rolling with someone who doesn't know anything about it. The parent is saying they know their child. I'm not saying they don't know anything, I'm just saying they don't know what a musical trajectory looks like, they don't know your plans for the curriculum, etc., etc. Angie had a quote there. When I took the "What kind of piano teacher are you?" quiz, I was evenly divided into the 3 types. Don't fit into her 3 types. Excellent, relaxed / enjoyable, organized / patient. Yeah, I was going to mention that next, that quiz. So it was really interesting, and I actually think that quiz, that chapter, if we take that, it's just a series of questions with multiple choice answers. If you take that, and instead of taking the quiz and like arriving at the answers that she has at the end, just scrap those, like wipe them out. No, sorry, Doreen, I don't mean to be offensive. I just mean the questions are so great that I think that is where the value is there. If you ask yourself those questions and have like a little notebook on hand, and brainstorm as you go. So you're asking yourself that question, like, why did I come up with that answer? What does that mean to me? Why would I write a different answer? And like use it as a jumping off point, because the questions were actually really great. But I agree with you, those like 3 defined categories, teachers, and I'm sure she knows this as well, teachers don't fall into those 3 specific groups, and it's not that cookie cutter as she used earlier. We're not cookie cutters. We don't fit molds. But those questions were great as a jumping off point for your thoughts. I definitely think that. In chapter 8, there's a lot of great practical considerations. So I think that one would be a great one to read if you are newer to teaching or just need to rethink the business side and stuff like that. I haven't really thought about it in depth before. She does talk about trial lessons, and I wanted to bring that up because mostly I actually agree with her about the content, just not the title. She calls them trial lessons, but they are not trial lessons. What she's describing to me is an interview or a meeting. There doesn't seem to be any lesson content unless I miss something. So I would just disagree with that term, which is offering a trial lesson, because I think it sets the wrong expectation to the parent of what we're offering them during that time, because it didn't sound like a lesson to me. And I don't think she should be offering a free lesson either. I just think remove that term. Call it an interview. It's not a free trial. It's just an interview, or it's a meeting or meet and greet or a visit. Some people using these thought processes, jumping off and going a different direction. And when I'm like picking at different sentences, that's not ever my way of saying, I hate this book or Dory Hall's wrong. It's just, I find that's how I interact with these things. Like if I debate the back and forth, it helps me understand my own thinking or different ways of viewing a situation. So that's why I talk about it in that way. Hope it doesn't ever come across as too negative. Alrighty, I don't think I missed any questions today. Nope. Let me know if you have any questions before I clock off here. But it's been fabulous to hang out with you as always and to talk about makeup lessons. Whether you have questions about makeup lessons or anything else, I'm going to be getting back to my scale recordings before I chip all the nail polish off my hands. Just me? No? And yes, before you ask, I do have a top coat on it. It is gel or whatever, claims to be as hard as diamonds, etc., etc. But I have still chipped it. It's not going to focus on that, but I promise you it's chipped already. Congratulations, me. I just use my hands too much. They're so useful. Anyway, so I'm going to be doing that, and then I'm going to be getting into recital stuff. I actually have a lot of practice to do on my own little pieces that I'm playing. I decided each one of us teachers, is 3 teachers here, including myself, so each one of us is going to kick off. We have all these little tiny mini recitals with just a few people in each one to minimize contact, etc. And one of us will kick off each one. So I've got to do 2 pieces, and they're doing 2 each as well for our 6 little mini recitals. Thank you, Carrie. Okay, doesn't look like I have any questions dripping in. So if that's the case, I will see you all next week. Next week we're diving into the new report. So we're looking at stats. We're looking at interesting findings about our global music teaching industry based on the surveys that you were all so wonderful and filled out for us. So I'm really looking forward to that. And question for future program or future episode of the show, yeah. How many teachers use practice sheets each week? I will say that I don't use them anymore. Just to answer your question briefly now, I use the Tanara app, but I used to use practice sheets. I'd say it's moved a lot less just because of the digital nature of everything in many parts of the world now. But interesting question. Okay, while we all ponder that, we'll wrap it up there. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Monday and a great week ahead, and I'll see you next week. Bye.